Okay, we are indeed live. Welcome everyone to another edition of the 4GwQPodcast podcast. This is episode number 180 for August 30th, 2018. Summer's almost over. It's almost game season, almost video game season, as we like to say. I am one of your hosts, Inferno217. We've got the other two usual characters here on Xbox Party Chat again due to technical difficulties. Hopefully next week we'll have videos back. But Clowns is not with us yet because he had PC updates and Xbox updates and updates galore on all of his technology, it seems. So he'll be joining us pretty soon. He's going to message me when he's ready. I'm going to invite him to the party. But making his 180th straight appearance, we do indeed have ZBCI Assassin with us. What's going on?
Hi.
Here we go again with this intro. One day, Assassin's gonna like win the lottery or something, like win the Wisconsin lottery, which will probably be like $2,000, something like that. And he'll win the lottery and go nuts. You should be happy. Didn't you make some money today? You got some money towards some new games. Shouldn't you be all ecstatic about that?
I mean, it was mowing the lawn. I mean, that's meh in general, but money's good.
Nice. Well, dude, mowing the lawn, sometimes that's really therapeutic for me, to be honest. Like, every once in a while when I mow the lawn and I throw my headphones in, I kind of wish it goes on for a little longer, but not when it's super hot. I don't know about you, but here in Massachusetts, oh my God. It's been like the most oppressive 95-degree days ever.
For a while, it was 50 degrees here.
Oh
but
my God.
We just came out of, it was storming, I think, like 5 days straight, and it's going to be storming another 7 days straight.
Wow. Well, hopefully that doesn't come over here, because I'm going to a wedding this weekend for my cousin, and if I get rained on or any of that shit, since it's outside, I shall be pissed. But nonetheless, we have a video game podcast to do here, so enough about the weather. Since I know a lot of our viewers are all over the world, appreciate every single one of you guys for showing up weekly and checking out the podcast, whether you watch it live or afterwards on YouTube. Really appreciate all the support we're getting. Want to go ahead and shout out the Inner Circle Network. Speaking of support, they brought us on as one of their affiliate podcasts, of which they have a few of them. All pretty good podcasts. I've listened to all of them very frequently. I listen to Brap, and I listen to the original Next Level Gaming podcast the most out of all the affiliate ones. And of course, the Iron Lords podcast is excellent as well. They're one of the official podcasts. They're not an affiliate, but shout out to all those guys. We've had guests from pretty much all those podcasts in the show, so we'll work on getting some more affiliate guests on, but we appreciate the Inner Circle Network for bringing us on as an affiliate, so thank you to those guys. All right, let me see. Clowns isn't here, so let me, I guess we'll start with Call of Duty. We'll get Clowns' thoughts on Call of Duty when he gets in. This is kind of like a little mini topic, but for those that don't know, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is now backwards compatible on the Xbox One. It is $15 currently on the Xbox Store, which I think is well worth it if you are looking for a little bit of that nostalgia bug. I was playing it last night with Assassin and a couple of other friends on Xbox One. It looks incredible on Xbox One X. I think the text is extremely sharp. The game itself actually is aged, I think, pretty well graphically. I don't know what you think, Assassins, but for me, I think that like the user interface, the menus and stuff, not blurry at all. I mean, obviously the graphics are a little blurry, but nothing too crazy. I think it actually held up pretty well, and I look forward to playing it a little bit more. What do you think?
I think it looks well, except, I mean, it could just be me and, how old my glasses are. You said this a lot yesterday, but stuff in the back just looks blurry, and it's annoying, and everything blends in half the time for me. It's a mess. I think people need to get off of the Kmart connection. Maybe it's just their servers, whatever. But everyone's like lagging.
Dude, it's that peer-to-peer connection, bro. It's that old school non-dedicated servers peer-to-peer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's disgusting. I wish we got a remaster than the backwards compatible game, because they could have done a lot to it that would have gave the game some love, but now we're just stuck with this.
Well, the remaster was rumored to only have the single player, so I don't know if I would have liked that, since obviously the single player Call of Duty games not the greatest. They're alright, but this one, as you said before, one of the shorter ones, and that would have been a waste, I think, of everyone's time. No.
I mean, the campaigns, I think, is really good, and it has some really great missions, especially in the middle. But I mean, where the game stands is multiplayer, and that's where it shows off. So having a remaster without the multiplayer is like, having a taco and just having the shell.
What an analogy. Someone's got taco on the brain. Daz in the YouTube chat says $15 is too much for a 10-year-old game, maybe $9.99. See, normally I would agree with that, but people are spending $15 on absolute nonsense these days. Like, it's just what they can get away with. They probably studied what they thought they would get away with. Call of Duty games hold their value pretty well. People are still playing it. People wanted this last installment to the, this is the last one to come to the backwards compatibility program, right? Am I right about that?
No, the original Call of Duty.
Well, if that was that on 360.
Yeah, it came with if you bought the more expensive Modern Warfare 2 version, you got like the remastered original Call of Duty.
Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, I'm a scrub then. It doesn't complete it, but close to. But I don't know. I think they knew they would get $15. I spent $15. You can ask Assassin yesterday. I spent $15 like it was nothing. Like, I just threw the money at the system and essentially bought the thing because I was excited for it. I wanted to play the game again. But anyway, Clowns is. Oh, good. Yeah, good.
That Activision is a greedy company. I think they're still selling Black Ops 2 digitally for $60.
Oh yeah,
or somewhere around there.
Yeah.
So $15 is very.
Is a deal coming from Activision. Yeah, it's a deal, right? Anyway, we got Clowns with us. He has joined the party. What's going on, Clowns?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What are your thoughts about this Modern Warfare 2? Have you tried out the backwards compatible yet, or what are your thoughts about it?
I think it's good that they did it because everybody wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't played it yet, but just knowing from Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2, I mean, there appears to be a lot of hack lobbies. I don't know if they are. I haven't gone on to see for sure, but I hear there is. So I just haven't been on it.
Yeah, so I know Assassin was worried about that right from the get-go. I know, to me, I don't even think of that because maybe I wasn't too crazy on Call of Duty. Maybe I didn't experience that enough. Maybe I wasn't in the, in the circles that kind of dealt with that kind of thing. But, this is one of the games that did have that kind of problem. And because it's not like a full-blown new release, it's still going to have that problem. Now, Assassin, you worried about this. Realistically, do you think it's going to be a huge problem or... Still?
Yeah, it will be a huge problem. Probably not right now, but soon. I mean, I just remember when I played, it was either 360 to PS3. People would have that this hack that would change the have a square, the AC-130 square, around every single enemy, so you knew exactly where everyone was.
Oh my god!
I remember on the 360 on derailed, people would be flying.
Wow.
So I mean, it's soon. I think it's gonna get bad because those hackers are gonna know that all these people are gonna come back to Modern Warfare 2, and it's a perfect chance to come by and put squares on everyone and get nukes
or mess up Assassin's KD.
That's right.
You see him on there.
That's right. As the famous Call of Duty YouTuber once said, "Wings of Redemption." If you don't got a 2.0 KD, you're getting banned, right? Have you guys ever seen that? Have you guys ever seen that guy, Wings of Redemption?
No.
The guy's fucking hilarious.
No.
He was a big YouTuber back in the day. I don't think he does YouTube anymore, but during his streams and stuff, he would say, I think he still does Twitch, but during his streams, he would be like, "Listen, whoever doesn't have a 2.0 KD, this match is getting banned." You like always say
That's
that.
Oh,
disgusting.
jeez.
Yeah, it's funny. Anyway, so yeah, that's the news on that. I didn't want to really get into a huge diatribe there, but let us know if you guys are interested in Modern Warfare 2, if you guys are playing it, if you're liking it. Me personally, I love this Modern Warfare 2 over Modern Warfare 1, the remaster that came out a couple years ago with Infinite Warfare. I didn't think it was that good. I mean, it looked good, but I much prefer Modern Warfare 2, so I am quite happy with my $15 purchase. It would have been better, though, Daz, at $9.99, but $15 is good enough for me, and I think Assassin's right when he says that for Activision, kind of a good deal. Now, Xbot brings up something about our next topic in the chat. Good segue, I guess. He says, what's the deal with the Red Dragon downplaying all access lately? And, personally, nothing against Red Dragon, but lately, the stuff I've seen, I've actually unfollowed and muted them because I can't. I'm starting to do that with a lot of people that downplay, things that don't affect them personally. Like, if this affected you personally, fine, downplay it to death. Like, you wanna come on Twitter, you wanna be the spokesperson hating on this shit. Be my guest, but like this service. I'm going to play both sides of it like I always do on this podcast. But personally, I think it's fine. I think it's a good deal. This is our slide from last week. We're about to talk about it. But we did not because we kind of ran out of time and it wasn't like official. So we didn't really want to talk about rumors. But it is now official. Xbox All Access service for the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S. So here are the prices here. So for the X, you get the Xbox One X, of course. You get Xbox Live Gold and Games Pass for 2 years. You get to keep the system, but those services you only get for 2 years. And it is $34.99 a month for 24 months. Nothing down. You don't pay anything when you go into the Microsoft Store. And that's a key point. Only at the Microsoft Store for right now, at least. Xbox One S, $21.99 per month for 24 months. Same deal. You get the system and you get to keep it, but you pay over the 24 months. So you get Live Gold and Games Pass along with that. So Clowns, I'll go to you first on this because I know that you kind of had to bounce last week. We were doing a lot of moving. You were doing a lot of moving and stuff, and we had to cut the show short. But I know you have a lot of thoughts on this. So what are your thoughts on it? And what are your, give your thoughts on the hate that's going on Twitter?
Well, first off, yeah, Red Dragon's a big voice in the gaming community lately, and I am tired of the negative tweets lately. It seems like, from my opinion, I could be wrong because I don't know him personally, but just from my opinion, his public persona plays on the negative aspects of anything Xbox related lately and hypes up the PC more. So I'm kind of disappointed in him in doing this because I think the Xbox All Access is a great deal for consumers. It makes it more affordable for people. For example, I know, if Nintendo did something like this with the Switch, Assassin may actually have the Switch right now. So the 0% is an excellent deal. You're getting so many games if you haven't bought into the Xbox gaming universe yet. And all that money that you're saving, you can reinvest and buy more games with it. It's just a good deal. I don't see what the hate is for. 0%, and you're getting Xbox Live, you're getting Game Pass, you're getting the Xbox One S or the Xbox One X, whatever you choose. How can you go wrong with this? Literally, what is so wrong about this? It's better than a lot of people spending the money up front that don't have it, that have to choose between different things in life, like bills, car payment, grocery shopping, etc., etc. But at $35 for an Xbox One X, that's very affordable. That's not eating out twice a month. And a lot of people can put that in their budget. So it's great, man. I don't see any losing point to this whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of good points there for sure because, people can budget for this kind of stuff easily. You get cell phone plans. I mean, I don't know for our international audience. I know cell phone plans are a lot different around the world because I've done some world traveling recently and have discovered how cell phone service works abroad. It's not exactly how it is in the U.S. So for better and for worse. Some companies some countries, I should say, pay so little for their cell phone service. I'm so jealous. But over here in the U.S., a lot of plans on good providers, you're paying like $80 a month if you're by yourself, 70, so that's something that you really do have to budget for, your electricity bill, your gas bill, all that stuff. This is, $35. This is like, like Clown said, you budget that out, for some people that's eating out once a month, that's not eating out for once a month. For some people it's twice a month. It's something that's easy to budget for, and it's 0% financing. There's no interest. You're not paying more. In fact, and I didn't even realize this until I did out the math a little bit, but in fact, you're paying less for what that would cost over the course of 2 years. Granted, systems may see a price drop, but nonetheless, if you're looking at it, price now, if you're not looking at the future, you're just looking at the price of what it would be. It's actually cheaper. If you do it out. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I know somebody probably knows it. But yeah, I mean, I know somebody like Assassin who's always pinching pennies, right? This is a good deal for you, no?
I mean, I always had like a bunch of, always had a constant flow of money. Then yeah, I would definitely be doing it. I mean, you're getting, live and Game Pass. You don't have to worry about that. You're getting like games like Forza Horizon 4 day one, so you don't have to plan on getting those games. You just have to plan on getting that money to Microsoft, and then all those games that you want to get. And who knows, maybe some people that maybe don't play games will do this. You'll get some bad kids on the enemy team, and you can just destroy them. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a win-win for everyone. Mm-hmm. You get to kill some bad kids, and everyone is playing. All that matters.
Yeah, and what matters here to Microsoft, obviously, the end game is getting these things into the hands of more people. And it's not the Xbox One S. The Xbox One S deal, I feel like they just added that on and said, we have this option too, because they didn't want to, push the Xbox One X necessarily. But the real meat and potatoes of this is, I think, in my opinion, and correct me, argue this if you want, guys, but if you don't agree, but the Xbox One X, I think, is really the push, because that's what people complain about. Is like, oh, it's $500. Like, it's too much for a gaming system. Like, look at when the PlayStation 3 launched, like $599 US. Everyone remembers that still because of how fucking expensive it is. And same thing with this, with the X. I mean, it's cheaper, obviously, and the hardware is at the top end, but nonetheless, like, people don't want to spend $500. So, this is what the financing plan's for people who can't necessarily drop 500 plus 240 plus 120 right at the get-go. And, it's an option. I probably won't do it because, the only negative, if I'm going to play both sides of the coin here, the one negative thing is that it does go on your credit report. So, it does count as kind of like a, like a loan, like a debt, so, that could lower people's credit if you're not careful, you don't know where your credit stands and whatnot. That could damage your credit a little bit until you pay it off. It could also be beneficial for your credit. It really matters on a case by case basis. I mean, I don't know, people in the chat. So I'm just looking at the chat right now and seeing some nonsense because Xbot's saying that the Red Dragon says use a 0-interest credit card, and people are talking about 0-interest credit cards. At least in the U.S., there is no such thing as a 0-interest credit card. Like, that does not exist. And if there does, please email me and send it to me because I want that. But I probably will not get an email because it just does not exist unless it's an intro offer.
Intro offer. Like, Discover, I think, has an intro offer of like 14 months at 0%. I think Bank America has like a 12 months at 0%. But you know what, though? With this Dell offer at 0%, so you're buying in to Xbox to open up your Dell line. Let's say that you don't have a Dell line yet, so you do this to get your Dell line. And then with Dell, what a lot of people don't realize, that if you pay 6 months on time with Dell, and you keep a good credit with them, a lot of times they'll auto raise your line. So you may go from like a $700 line up to like a $2,800 line in 6 months, depending on how you treat your credit. So this could be hugely beneficial to people looking to build up their credit or students that don't have credit. I mean, this is an opportunity, and you just got to take it on a personal level and be responsible with it. But it's a great deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely true. And Boogie was kind of saying that in the chat too. And it can work on both sides of the coin because, like you said, young people with low credit, with little credit, with what they call immature credit, you know, you can use this as proof and say, you know, I've got a 2-year loan here, essentially, a 2-year interest plan. Financing plan, and I'm going to pay this off. And if you pay it off completely and at the end you don't, you know, you're not delinquent or anything, you know, that shows creditors that they can trust you, and that will significantly boost young, immature credit. But, you know, if you do take this out and you don't make a payment, you miss a payment, whatever, you know, that can be devastating to credit bureaus, especially because it is only $34.99 a month. It's not like a car payment. It's not like a mortgage. You know, this is like, you know, it works on both sides. You have to make sure you're diligent on this. But like we already discussed, it is affordable and it's an option for people. Some may argue.
You know,
go ahead.
Another thing, Inferno, that I want to say, because you and your brother actually talk about these deals a lot, but like you get those Dell cashback rewards deals. If you have Dell financing, a lot of times, like if you buy certain things, like sometimes, like even on their website, it'll say like $72 cashback Dell rewards or $25 cashback Dell rewards. So if you're responsible with your Dell line, you know, in just 2 or 3 months, you may actually be able to buy a game off Dell Rewards, like for $60. I got a $100 Xbox card from Dell Rewards just from using credit responsibly on there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And you know, trust goes beyond increasing your credit line. You know, Jizzle says in the chat, Capital One raised my credit line by $5,000 after like a week. Yeah, I mean, you need to prove to these companies. These companies are taking a risk on you. And Microsoft is taking a big risk on this. Like, don't think that Microsoft is getting out scotch-free on this and that they're just going to make a ton of money off this. Because they are giving you a piece of hardware that they get for $500, and they're giving you 2 services that equal in total, like $360 over 2 years. They're giving you that for nothing. You put nothing down. Like, you literally just walk out. This is a 0% financing. Zero down. You know, this is literally, you walk in, you sign a piece of paper, and you walk out with an Xbox with 130 plus games and on Games Pass and online gaming plus access to discounts plus all the other benefits of Xbox Live Gold. So it's like both sides are taking a risk, but you have a lot to gain if you do this. You also have a lot to lose, so you have to pay attention. But people saying, you know, just put on a 0% credit card, like not everyone can just apply for a 0% credit card in intro offer and get it. Like not everybody's in that situation. And also, if you miss a payment on one of those cards, like, and you get to the end of that financing period, and you don't pay off your credit, like you are screwed. I know people who've done that and have done the intro offers and they miss, paying off that balance by a minuscule amount. Like they missed it by like $120, something like that. Like, you know, way less than their paycheck, you know, and you know, because they didn't pay it off in time, they got interest all the way back to the start, and their credit score took a huge hit. So because they didn't pay attention, so you gotta pay attention. Let me see what's going on. Boogie says in the chat, LBoogie0208 says, do you know how good of a credit score you need to have a 0% credit? Yeah, those intro offers aren't available to just, you know, every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Like, they're available, but you need to open a new credit line. You need to, you know, hit goals. You know, there's other contingencies. This is literally just walk in, sign a piece of paper. If you hit, like, I don't know what the credit score is going to be, but it's probably, like, somewhere in the 600s. If you have that, like, maybe low 600s, then you're fine. You'll get this. Stickfigure says all access is getting so much attention, good and bad. Don't see if it's such a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal in gaming because like people don't usually do this, but you know, Microsoft has come up with a good way to satisfy everyone. Really, I mean, if you don't like it, just buy it outright, and who cares? Like, stop trashing it. Jesus.
Well, what we should learn from Microsoft is they love to give us options. Like, this is just another option to get a console. So
Yeah.
I mean, maybe in the future we'll get different options that maybe people won't complain as much. Who knows?
Yeah, and somebody said, let me scroll up and find it, because I can't remember exactly who said it, because the chat's moving kind of quick. Piro Dusa said, if Sony did it, no one would have a problem. Well, Sony has done something like this. I mean, they had a Sony credit card. I don't know if that still exists, but Sony has a credit card. GameStop has a credit card.
Does.
Like, these companies still have credit cards.
It still exists.
And Sony doesn't offer you 0% financing. Sony will hit you with huge financing if you don't pay it off. Like, so it's not like Microsoft by offering some sort of financing here through Dell, by the way, like Clowns mentioned. It's not even like Microsoft financing. It's Dell, reputable credit, a company that offers credit to a lot of people. And, it's not like, it's just some Joe Schmo who's never done credit before. Like, Sony has done this with a credit card. So no one, I mean, we were shitting on Sony for doing it, but and people who got that, but there are people who got it and had no problem with it, and it didn't get this kind of attention because, hate to admit it, but it's true. It's because it was Sony. If Microsoft released a credit card, they'd be fucked. I mean, people would shit all over them, dude. I think
there's a lot of PC elitists that have used Dell financing to get themselves into a gaming PC and then build up the PC they bought. So I don't know why it's such a big deal just because it's Xbox. I mean, a lot of people in the PC community use Dell. I'm surprised, that one person on Twitter didn't bring that up.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, people finance things left, right, and center. So I don't know why all of a sudden, like, we're financing an Xbox with Games with Gold and Games Pass. I don't understand why, all of a sudden, that's a huge deal. Microsoft's desperate, this, that, and the other thing. Like, yeah, does Microsoft want to capture a bigger audience because of this? Yes. But what company doesn't want to capture a bigger audience? Like, it's silly. It's just silly, to be honest. And, on the flip side, people will say, well, if you can't afford an Xbox One, you shouldn't have one. Like, if you have to finance it, you shouldn't have one. But then again, like, this isn't necessarily for somebody who's making like 30, 35, 40, 45 above, it's not somebody who makes, a decent wage, it's not somebody who's out there and is like a mechanical engineer or whatever. It's like for the Tom, Dick, and Harrys that are having a problem. They want to get an Xbox One X. They want the latest in hardware. They want the latest and greatest. And, and Xbox, right. It's just like cell phone marketing. How many Joe Schmoes who are out there who are poor as fuck, no offense to anyone, but it's true. How many people are out there poor as fuck that have an iPhone X? You know what I mean? Like, how many people you see out there that, don't make a lot of money, like, are living paycheck to paycheck, and they're rocking a Galaxy Note 9? You know what I mean? It's the same exact thing. It's the same thing.
Or think about, what if you're like a parent, you're working like 3 jobs, and your kid wants an Xbox, but you can't afford it, and you have an option now to get an S or an X to give to your son or daughter or what, whoever, and make them happy for their birthday or Christmas.
Right. There's nothing, that's an awesome point, because I haven't heard anyone say that. It's like, there's nothing also preventing you from financing it and giving your kid like a really awesome present. Like, you're buying them other things. You're buying them like, Johnny Bravo action figures or whatever the hell you're buying kids these days, and like Pokemon and shit. And then you give them an Xbox One X and they're like, oh my God, like, I got an Xbox One X. This is the coolest, blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much. And they can play online and they get access to like 130 games right out of the gate. And, you don't have to, there's nothing that's saying that you can't gift this to someone. That's an awesome point. It's a good point. One more thing before we get off this topic, because this has been going on for, honestly, I hate it because we're perpetuating the problem by talking about this, but it's kind of an important thing to talk about. Piro Dusa says in the chat, I don't even see it as financing Xbox. I look at it as live and Game Pass more. Let's say you get $50 worth of games every 2 months for 2 years. That's $1,200. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. You got 130 games. And with Games Pass, you're getting the latest Xbox titles. You're getting Forza Horizon 4. You're getting State of Decay 2. You're getting 2 days, you're getting Master Chief Collection, which has almost the entire Halo franchise prior to Halo 5. And it is an incredible collection. We'll talk about that in a little bit because it just got an important update. You know, you're getting Gears of War 4, you're getting Sea of Thieves, you're getting everything day of. And we'll talk about what was added. Let's just bring that up now. I mean, let's just bring that up now with Games Pass. So they just added for September. They just announced all these games they're adding. I mean, look at these fucking games, dude. Like, look at these games that you're getting as part of Games Pass and as part of this Xbox All Access. You're getting the Master Chief Collection, like I said, Snake Pass, which was my favorite indie game from last year, bar none. That was an incredible indie game. I love that game. You're getting Onrush, which is like universally accepted as an awesome game. You're getting Shadow Warrior, awesome game. You're getting Quantum Break. You know, some people think it's awesome, some people think it isn't. You know, I think it's pretty good. I didn't finish it, but you know, you can't go wrong with Remedy titles, in my opinion. I mean, you're getting Skyforce. That game's awesome. You're getting some of these other ones I don't really know, but Giana Sisters is good. I mean, Giana Sisters, you know, decent platformer. I like that. So let's talk about this real quick. What did you guys think of the new Games Pass selection in September?
I thought they were all right. I didn't know like maybe half of them or whatever, but the Master Chief Collection, I mean, you could put so many hours into that game. I mean, we'll get into the, you know, later on with the game, but I mean, you don't have to install the whole game, you know, now, and it's nice for hard drive space. Quantum Break, I mean, that game will eat up your hard drive if you don't have good internet with the TV episodes, but it's a great game, easy achievements. I recommend it.
Yep. Clowns, what are you thinking on this? Good month?
I think for Game Pass, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, Snake Pass got a lot of great reviews as an indie game.
Awesome.
I mean, yep. Skyforce is a lot of fun. It reminds me of like the old Battlefield 1942 game from the NES a little bit. Onrush has gotten praise in the community. Even Shadow Warrior was a lot of fun for people when it came out. You know, for me, a lot of people may disagree with me, but I like the story in Manuel Samuel. Even though the gameplay mechanics are pretty difficult, I like the story in it. I think it's funny. And Avon Colony, I can't wait to try that. I was actually going to buy it, but now I could just play it for free because I have Game Pass. I mean, it's great. And before anybody says, "Oh, Clowns, we have to pay Game Pass monthly," well, me and Assassin game share, and he has it, so.
Right. So if you're game sharing, it's really like $5 monthly if you were to go that route, or, you know, just like with other game sharing, like you buy this, I buy that, you know, work out agreements. And you know, Games Pass, I think, is a great value, and I think this month is a killer month for editions. I think anyone downplaying this month's editions, like, you're either a huge fanboy on the other side or you're on crack or something, because this is a very, very good month, I think. There's a lot of really good playable content here, and I was serious when I thought Snake Pass was, I think it came out last year in March-ish. Let me double check that. Was that 2 years ago at this point? No, it was last year. Yeah,
I think it was last year.
March 2017. We saw that at PAX. That game looked incredible. I reviewed that for 4GwQPodcast website. That game is excellent. If you haven't played that game, you should. It's a little frustrating, but in terms of puzzle platforming, it is excellent. Master Chief Collection. Evil Earn just said he wants to play Master Chief Collection. Let's get into that right now. Actually, Master Chief Collection just got the 4K 60 HDR update. Like, major improvements. A lot of people will say, you know, it's not that big of an improvement. You know, watch it on a 4K TV. People are watching YouTube videos on like their laptops, on their phones, on their iPads, and they're seeing the comparison videos and they're downplaying the way it looks. Like, you have to watch it in a 4K TV on a bigger TV. Like, you know, a 1080p like 7-inch TV versus a 4K 7-inch TV is gonna look a lot like really similar. You're not gonna be able to see a lot of the difference. I don't know if you guys checked this out, Assassin. I know you played a little bit of it. What did you think of the updates?
Well, so I played a little Halo CE, like very little amount. I meant to hit Halo 2, but I started CE. And, I mean, it looks good. I mean, it's a really old game, so, I mean, I forgot how it looked before, so I can't, like, really say, oh my god, it looks so much better than, you know, it was, like, 5 days ago. But, for Halo 2, like, I mean, the cutscenes in that game made by Blur, who do Halo Wars 2, are just so good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can make a movie, and Halo Wars 2 and not Halo Wars 2, Halo 2, the cutscenes still look, I think, even better, because obviously the update.
Mm-hmm.
But actually playing just for a little bit, because it was late, it still looks really good. I can't wait to replay the game again.
Yeah, dude. Remember when we did that, like, from 1 to 4, like, straight through, like, for a few days there, and we were just like running through that shit. We need it now. Now they updated it. I feel the need to do it again. I feel the itch. Yeah,
we have to replay the last level on Halo CE because you got disconnected right at the end.
Wow, I can't believe you just brought that up. I can't believe you just referenced that. Oh my god.
What, how long did we spend? Like 2 hours trying to get the Warthog to the finish line?
Oh my god, dude.
Disconnected right at the cutscene.
Dude, that last level on Legendary sucks. And then, of course, disconnected from host on the cutscene, didn't get the achievement. Fucking A, dude. I was starting to forget about that, and of course you gotta bring it up, dude. I'm gonna cry in my sleep tonight. Oh, man.
Hilarious.
Clowns, what do you think? This, I don't know if you checked that out or not, but if you didn't, you know, what do you think of the updates? What do you, for stuff you read, at least?
I think it's great fan service. I mean, they're really listening to fans, and they really want to keep working on something, even though it's so many years old and so far gone. You know what I mean? They keep going back to their own stuff and improving it. How can you lose when you have a company that loves their own work?
Yep. Oh yeah. Yep. Because this came out, you know, for people that remember, this thing came out. It was an absolute disaster. A lot of it was matchmaking. You know, the games looked good, ran well. You know, 60 FPS. You know, buttery smooth, good graphics. But, you know, matchmaking was a disaster, and now part of this update, I know I say in this slide here, 4K 60 HDR update, but huge improvements in matchmaking, huge dedication by the team to kind of stick with this after, 4 years at this point, almost? Wow, we're getting old. Yeah, I mean, huge matchmaking improvements. Raxel in the YouTube chat is saying, Halo 4 Online, smooth as silk on the X. I'm going to have to check that out tonight, probably. That update is hefty, though, so get ready for like a 75 gig update, right, Assassin? Something like that?
Yeah, on the X, yeah, it's pretty big.
Absurd, yeah.
But speaking of which, you can, like, if you love Halo CE campaign, but you hate the multiplayer, and you just like the multiplayer and hate the campaign in Halo 2, you could, like, you know, uninstall those parts. I think that's really nice. I wish, you know, bigger games like Call of Duty or Battlefield would do that.
Yeah.
Limit, you know, the hard drive space.
Yeah, really nice feature. Really nice feature. And that's something that they've done on PlayStation before that I really appreciated on PlayStation, when it says, like, what do you want to play first, the multiplayer or single player? And it'll let you select that. I know I think a couple of games have done that on Xbox. Maybe like a Call of Duty here or there has done that, maybe. I can't remember which, but like on PlayStation, I feel like a few more games do that, and I really appreciated that about that platform. And now, you know, having it on Halo Master Chief Collection being such a huge, dense game and update, like with a lot of different games in and of itself, you know, I think that huge feature that a lot of people aren't talking about, but good point there. Really quick, want to go to the YouTube chat here to mention what people are saying. Raxel says, or Evil Earn says, you know, he wants to play MCC, and Daz responds to that by saying, I've got it in 4K, and it's pure sex, bro. That's literally what he said. So, I don't know if it's pure sex, but, I mean, very, very close second, probably. Predator talks about our next topic, which is funny Games Pass is good, but Games with Gold sucks. Next month, he thinks it'll flip-flop. We're going to get into that in a second because I have something to say about that I'm not too happy with Microsoft about. And kind of something I think we've talked about before in the podcast. I think Clowns has brought up in the past, but something that I'm not really happy about Microsoft about. Let me see. Oh, Xbot, the resident Halo fan here says, Halo Master Chief Collection looks great, matchmaking a lot quicker, but in the end, the gameplay just feels dated in multiplayer, and that is that's one of the things. It's kind of like a too little, too late complex, you know. Like Clowns was saying, you know, great fan service. You know, people who are diehards of the old series absolutely love it, but you know, in the end, you know, sometimes you play, you know, especially the first couple Halos, you play it and you're kind of like, oh wow, this is, you know, this is showing its time period here, and you know, it's not something you necessarily, you know, with common shooters of today, it's not something you go back to and you know, revisit every single night. You know, it's not like one of those multiplayer games anymore, I don't think, which sucks. And if it had released like this from the get-go, I think it would have totally taken off. But anything else from you? You guys have anything else to say about this? Or
hopefully they add reach. I know they like not really hinted at it, but like in their blog posts, they're like, we hear that, you know, everyone wants reach and whatever. Like I hope they add that game. I think it would be perfect to, you know, just put all the old Halos together.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that rumor's been floating around like forever. I feel like they should just get that over with, because I think people are just expecting. Like, that rumor floats around so much now. I feel like people just expect it. You know, that's the thing with rumors like that. Like, when people are perpetuating that rumor over and over and over, and that it doesn't come, you're like, oh shit. Like when Rise was rumored. Remember when Rise was rumored to come to Games with Gold, and like month after month after month, it just didn't, and people were like, what the fuck? Like, where is Rise now? You know, people are getting upset. And it was just a rumor, like, you know, who are you to expect that, you know?
I just wanted to push out, you know, the 4K 60 HDR, you know, to the game first, then push out, like, a new game. And then, you know, because they would have to, you know, make reach for the, you know, the past MCC. And then they would have to update it because, you know, they can't just push, you know, when, you know, the new version out, because it probably wouldn't work with the old version, so it would just be a mess.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Well, I'm sure we're gonna see that. I'd be shocked if that didn't come about. But as for what's currently in there, I think this is a huge deal, and you know, I'm gonna go back to it and at least play the single player, which, you know, for the old games still hold up pretty well. Like Master Chief Collection, Halo, like CE, the original, like I still think that holds up pretty well, and you know, especially in co-op, I think that's really good. So, that is that on Halo Master Chief Collection. Now into this topic, which is buttering my biscuit. No, I'm probably using that wrong. But anyway, Games of Gold versus PlayStation Plus. Now, I think you guys will both agree with me here. But the Games of Gold this month are trash. Are like utter trash. And Raxel says it's time to get rid of the 360 games from Games of Gold. And I agree with that on some regard, but I also think that you know, there are a lot of good 360 games that aren't available yet as part of Games of Gold, or haven't been available as Games of Gold, and I think that there are still good ones that can be put out there, but you know, I don't think that's necessarily a hindrance. Like, I don't think that necessarily was the reason why Games of Gold sucked this month. Like, I actually think, and guys, I want your opinion on this. I think the 360 games are vastly superior to what's on the Xbox One for Games of Gold for September. Wouldn't you say?
I think the only game that is good in this lineup, now it could be a little biased here, is Lego Star Wars 3 or whatever it's called. I think that's the best offer they have. Everything else could just be thrown out.
Wow. Dude, that Sega collection's good.
I'm with Assassin on this, man.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Let me see, because sometimes they like kind of sneak a game in there every once in a while. Dude, that vintage collection, right? So that vintage collection, what does that have in it? That has what does that have? I'm a sucker for vintage shit, but if I don't know any of the games, I actually didn't look into what's in that collection. Oh, Monster World 4, Wonder Boy, which Wonder Boy is excellent. And Wonder Boy in a Monster World, in a Monster Land. I mean, am I gonna play those realistically? Probably not. You know, the Lego Star Wars 3, like, I'm definitely gonna download that without question. I think that's definitely the star. I think you guys are right on that. P. Rodusa says none of those games are bad, just indie. No, that's true. I mean, you know, it's not like, you know, if they put indie games out, you know, I don't have anything against that. It doesn't need to be, you know, some people say, oh, they need to be all AAA games. I have nothing against that. But you know, that would be something different if they released that collection of indies with like what PlayStation's offering, you know, versus like throwing that in there with like Live Lock and Prison Architect, you know, like it's just like Jesus. Like Jizzle says he bought Live Lock because he looked really promising, but I mean the game is not stable. Like the game is trash. Like I think they're just giving that away because it's easy, you know. And that's what sucks because Games with Gold is so much worse lately, I think, than the Games Pass games. And I think it's like incentivizing people to just buy Games Pass, which is kind of shady in my opinion. I think it's like backdoor incentivizing Games Pass, which fine, you want people to subscribe to Game Pass, that's cool, but like give us the quality we've been expecting on Games with Gold. Like,
yeah, but we just came off of a good. Well, we're still going on, but. You know, we just came off of a good month.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think last month was excellent. But like,
yeah, so I feel like anything that would stack up to this month would be pretty bad. I mean, September is a pretty bad month for, you know, offerings, at least for me. But I mean, we did just have a good month. So I feel like that Game Pass is ruining Games with Gold. I don't think is. I mean, there's still an argument with it, but I think, you know, after a month we just had, it shouldn't be, you know, an argument at the moment.
Yeah, I mean,
but that could just be me.
No. Listen, maybe when I just said that, I came off as like a little bit of a whiny baby because last month was very good, but, you know, it's like for example, Snake Pass, right? So Snake Pass, they threw in a Games with Gold, but I mean, Game Pass. Snake Pass is in Game Pass, wow. But with Games with Gold, right? Like, if you had thrown Snake Pass in there instead of Live Lock, like, I'd be like, okay, this is a decent month. Like, all right, fine. You know, Prison Architect, not my thing, but, you know, some people are into that. Instead, they throw in, like, buggy shit. And that's what annoys me. Like, I know on a like, month-to-month basis, it's not always that Games Pass is better. So, like, Assassin, I do agree with you on that. But, like, you know, it's like, if you can make it for free in Games Pass, why can't you throw one of those good games into Games with Gold? You know what I mean? And satisfy the people that, you know, see both sides of the coin. It's like you see both of them, and you think to yourself, like, oh, this one looks so much worse next to that. But, like, if this Games with Gold came out and there was no Games Pass, would you think it was that bad? I still would. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still think it would be bad. But it's even worse, like, when I'm looking at Games Pass and I see some of those games, I'm like, oh, shit. You know, they got, you know, Games Pass has got Snake Pass, you know, Quantum Break. Like, obviously, I don't think they would make Quantum Break free anytime soon. But, you know, there are so many good quality games in Game Pass, and then you see Games of Gold, and you're just like, oh, man. Like, last month was great, and then you give us this. Like, you know, they had a hard like, ceiling to stay at with last month's games, I thought. You know, I thought last month's games were excellent, or this month, I should say. But, man, don't come at me with this, you know?
Yeah.
we look at the PlayStation Plus games. Sorry, I was muted. We look at the PlayStation Plus games. You get Destiny 2, okay, which we'll get into that. We'll get into that in a second because that's also shady in my opinion. And you get God of War 3 remastered, which is excellent, like flat out excellent. Old game, yes, okay, remaster of an old game, but it's a great remaster. The game is excellent. So like. You look over at PlayStation, and you're like, holy shit, like, I'm getting 2 AAA titles here. Let me look up right now what God of War Remastered is going for. God of War 3 Remastered. How much can you get that for these days?
It's probably like 20.
$20, right? Yeah, $20, $20. Somebody's got it for 30, 20, like, it's right around 20, so... In reality, it's not like a huge cash value, but that game is excellent, you know? Destiny 2, another one that doesn't have a lot of cash value, but perception is that is a huge AAA title that is getting increasingly popular as of late because of a DLC that's coming up, right, clowns? That they want you to buy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's to sucker you in, man. That's all it is. Sucker you in, get you hooked on the base game, so that you can buy the whole new expansion for $60 hard-working dollars.
Yeah. And I put out a tweet the other day that was like, you know, everyone's got an agenda, and people thought I was just like talking shit about PlayStation. And I got some DMs like, you know, Xbox does this too with Games Pass. Okay, fine. Yeah, they do it with Games Pass. It's true. I totally agree. You know, they do that with a lot of Games Pass games. But Games Pass games, you know, aren't necessarily games that have a huge DLC coming out soon. You know what I mean? It's like that. That's why I think it's shady. Like, is it perfectly acceptable? Yeah, it's cool. Like, it's even cool. Like, I think offering Destiny 2 to everyone is a cool thing because I think, you know, there is still a lot of intrigue in that, and that is a pretty recent game. Like, that game isn't even that old if you think about it.
It's not even a year old.
It's not even a year old. That game came out, what, September of 2017. It's not even a year old as of this moment. Like, it is the new... It's not even Destiny 1, dude. It's not even like, oh, we're giving away Destiny 1 so you can go back and play that through for whatever reason. It's Destiny 2. It's the latest one. So the perception is that, you know, it's a huge cash value. Now, recently, Destiny 2 has been offered for extremely cheap because PlayStation... because Sony has... you know, obviously Sony's got a piece of the pie here. Sony is willing to let Activision kind of do this kind of thing. And like you were saying, Assassin in Party Chat, or on the DMs, I can't remember, that, you know, they did the same thing with Call of Duty Black Ops 3. Like, they're looking for people to potentially buy the DLC. They're able to offer, like, high-level Activision games because of Sony's position right now, right?
Yeah, and Activision, like, I gave them shit for their greediness. Like, Black Ops 3 went free, so they could release a map pack that you can only get for digital pre-order. Black Ops 4. Destiny 2 probably went free, so everyone can, you know, play the game, and then the DLC is going to come out. They're going to not be able to do certain things because the DLC is going to take over, and then they're going to have to spend $60+ to, you know, buy the new DLC because you have to have the old DLC to get the new DLC. So you're pretty much buying the game. So you're pretty much just, if you are buying the DLC, you're pretty much just getting God of War for free, not Destiny.
Right. I mean, look, I want in the chat, you know, Shiznu Elite makes a good point, and I agree with it completely because, you know, I don't want it to look like we're shitting on Games with Gold as a service. Like, Games with Gold as a service is cool, and, you know, it is free, so, like, you don't want to... You got to be careful with shitting on something that's free because it's like you have the option to download it or not. It's not like, you know, it's directly harming you or whatever, but, like, you look at, like, to even take into consideration what Assassin just said, you just look at perception. You look at, you know, one side of the coin. Destiny 2, AAA. God of War, AAA. You know, whether or not in Destiny 2 there really is a lot of value without a lot of the DLCs, like, that is your personal opinion. That is, you know, I feel like that is a point that you're gonna have to, you know, decide on yourself and see if it's value to you, because it could be no value. You know, if you're getting Destiny 2 and you're just playing through, you know, Destiny 2 vanilla without any of the downloadable content a year later, like, you know, for some people that's absolutely not worth it. It's like, why would you even give me that? You know, what I'm gonna get is outdated, blah blah blah. But it's just a perception, you know. It's just a perception. It's another thing for people to shit on Microsoft for. And you know, some months PlayStation Plus is way worse than Games with Gold, like last month. And you know, it's the perception there too. And it sucks for both sides. But like, one thing I want to ask you guys: do you guys think that like these companies know of the plans that other people are doing? Because, like, for instance, you know, I don't think necessarily that like companies are unaware of what games could go for free. You know what I mean? Like, do you think this having Destiny 2 and God of War 3 be free like blindsided Microsoft because they never thought that those games could go for free? Or do you think like last month when For Honor was free, do you think Sony was like, oh my god, I had no idea that, you know, they would potentially do that, like we're fucked, you know, like we're behind the 8 ball? Like, do you think the companies know what's kind of like out there and could be possibly included in something like this?
I think in a way they sort of know. Like, for instance, like, let's just say For Honor, like we have that free now. Like, if, you know, Sony's like, you know, sends an email to Ubisoft, or Ubisoft sends it to Sony, or, you know, wanting For Honor to be free, and they pick August, they'll probably say no, you know, because they might say because Xbox, you know, is getting it, or, you know, PlayStation's getting it, if it's the other way around. So I think they somewhat know. I don't think they know exactly every single game for every single month in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's just those, so they don't overlap if they, you know, they do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I think I agree with that. I think there's a little bit of not understanding, but I think kind of like people know what's out there. Like the higher ups know kind of what's out there, and like it would be. I don't know if it would be a disaster if both services offered the same game, you know, for a free game. I don't think it would be that big of a deal, you know. And to be fair, I don't know how many people really like analyze like PlayStation Plus versus Games with Gold. Like, unfortunately, as parts of the gaming community we're part of, like, that's something that we kind of do, which, you know, it's, for me, it's just perception. It's not like who won. It's not like a console war kind of thing. It's just perception. But I think that there is like a kind of a knowledge on what's gonna be out there, you know, or what could possibly be out there.
Yeah, I mean, these. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Assassin.
Well, it'll be quick, but who knows? Maybe like Phil Spencer and someone at PlayStation meet up every like month or once or twice, you know, a year. Have a dart full of, you know, dart thing full of games, and they just throw it and be like, okay, this is gonna be October's. Oh, Snake Pass. Okay, you can't have Snake Pass. They remove it.
Oh man, I wanted Snake Pass for October. Fuck, Phil.
Yeah, or they just do a drinking game. Like whoever, you know, loses, you know, can't pick a good game for that month, and that's why maybe Phil lost for September. You know, he lost that drinking game, so now we get shit.
That's it, Phil. You're stuck with Live Lock. Like, can you imagine? No. Oh yeah. Man, what were you gonna say, Clowns?
I mean, yeah. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. These guys in the industry, they know what their, you know, competitors are up to, and I'm sure they have sources and rumors that go around. But for Xbox and Microsoft, I don't think they could care that much about Destiny 2 going free for PS Plus. I mean, they know that PlayStation has the exclusive with Bungie. And, I mean, let's just be honest here. That game has taken a dive in value, the base game, and it was losing its fan base. So why would Microsoft even care that Destiny 2 went free on PS Plus? I mean, God of War 3 Remastered, that's a good one, but the Destiny 2, I don't know.
Well,
that's just as bad as Live Lock.
Well, they care because like I guess time will tell, and maybe, you know, they've analyzed it improperly. Maybe they don't actually know, but you know, like we said, and like you said, like it just leads to potential revenue of the DLC, and people will be more convinced. It's like the Fortnite thing, right? It's like any free to play game. It's like, oh, I got the game for free, so now I can be very easily convinced of spending some money. Like, I don't know if people are going to do that with Destiny. I don't know if people are willing to spend, you know, what is it going to be $60 for this Forsaken thing, or I can't remember what the price is.
Well, it's 40, but you need to have the first 2 DLCs, which I think the pass right now is $20.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to equal 60. So I mean, you know, you buy the collection or you buy them separately, but you're pretty much spending 60 no matter what.
Right.
But if you don't have PlayStation Plus, I mean, you can't play the game, but you don't own the game then. So you lose the rights to playing the game if, you know, you don't have PlayStation Plus, but the game is useless without PlayStation Plus, like I said.
Right. Yep. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's really bad for both, with the exception of the God of War and the Lego Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, Destiny's one of those games that it's not for everyone. Like, you know, sometimes, like Lego Star Wars 3, for instance, like, I think that's a game for everyone. Like, some people, I guess, actually hate the Lego games, but that's a genre and a subject matter that I think is kind of for the average gamer. Destiny 2, yeah, it's an FPS, and, you know, Destiny, you got to give it to Bungie. Destiny, you know, gun mechanics are excellent in a game like that. But, you know, in terms of grinding, in terms of, you know, the MMO elements, you know, not necessarily for everyone. So, I thought I said that wrong, but I did not. That's why I paused there. But Piro Deuces says the logistics of getting rid of games gold is hard. I mean, how much would they have to refund? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, and Predator mentioned earlier, that's a response to Predator because he says get rid of games gold and include Games Pass with a live subscription. Like, I don't think that's a terribly bad idea, but at the same time, I think that in turn, you know, Games of Gold would just be absorbed. You just wouldn't know that, you know. It's not like if you did that and got rid of Games of Gold, like I think Games of Gold would just be a part of Games Pass anyway. You know, it's kind of like the same thing. It's like one, you know, one you get free games if you have, you know, if you have gold, the other you get free games. Whoa, a lot of barking. The next you get free games if you have Games Pass. So I don't know.
Well, technically with Game Pass, like, yes, you're getting free games, but you're technically paying, you know, for those. The 360 games of Games of Gold you get to keep even if you lose Game Pass Gold. I know the Xbox One games, if you lose gold, you can't play them, but I mean, pretty much you're paying for, you know, free games either way.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you're paying for it. I mean, nothing's free, right? I mean, nothing's free. My father told me that at a very young age. Everything in life, you know, nothing's free. You know, with the exception of very little, nothing. I mean, and the same thing with this Destiny. Like, nothing is free because you're paying for both subscriptions, and to be relevant in that game, you're gonna have to pay anyway. So, but anyway, that's enough. That's enough of that. But you know, I think everyone here can agree that you know, Clowns thinks both of them are kind of crap. But I think if you're just considering like face value, you're giving it to PlayStation.
Well, are you talking about like monetary value? Because Destiny 2 base game is like $12.
No. Perception, like face value. Like, I look at both. I just have both up on the screen. It's like flashes, and you see one side's PlayStation Plus and one side's Xbox, and you just from what perception is based on what's being offered. Like, you know, yeah, like we said, like, and like people say in the chat, somebody said he got Destiny 2 for $8. Like, obviously that's not good. That's not good value, right? That money value. Microsoft, what does Microsoft say? Let me bring that slideshow up again. Microsoft says that technically you're getting, if the slide will rotate here, $69.96 in value. So they're valuing it at $69.96. No way is Destiny 2 and God of War and all those other games they're offering. No way, because there's always more games on PlayStation Plus that not a lot of people download. But there's no way those games add up to $70, right?
I'm curious, what does Destiny 1 go on the PlayStation?
Destiny 1 or 2?
No, 2. I mean, I'm gonna look that up because obviously
I'm already ahead of you.
Digital games go sell for more than if you go to like GameStop.
So obviously I'm logged in, so it's free. Go ahead.
With PlayStation, unless there's a sale, a lot of our stuff is still like retail price. I'm curious what it goes for on Amazon though.
Yeah, Assassin, can you look it up? Because I can't get it to stop saying free for some reason, even though I logged out.
Yeah.
It just says free. Like, I can't say it. I'm logged out and everything. I can't say it. I can't see it at the real price. But, I mean, it's not 60, so monetary value, it's not, I don't think it's close. Even though these games, I think, on Microsoft are trash, but overall, I still think you're getting more monetary value on PlayStation. Because those indie games that they're offering too, like Cube Director's Cut and Otherworld, like those games have been cheap. Those games are of low monetary value.
$9.99 on Amazon for Destiny 2.
Yeah, some tells me you cannot buy Destiny 2 by itself because the collection is out.
That's sketchy as well.
You'll get the full game and the DLC. So some tells me they pulled Destiny 2 off the store for the Destiny Forsaken collection or whatever it's called.
It's possible. It's possible.
Because I think they did that with Destiny 1.
Possible. Either way, I think the value is definitely not as much on the Sony side, but the perception and face value, it's just like you put both up and you just ask, common people, like not people even in tune to this stuff, like which is more value. I think people would just say PlayStation's because, people value AAA stuff, and it's sad because indie stuff is good, and there are a lot of good older titles, but face value, I think Microsoft's offering is not quite as good. Like they say Prison Architect is $30. Is that actually factual? I don't think it's $30.
No clue.
Let me see. Prison Architect. Okay, or not. It's not letting me look it up either. Jesus, my computer sucks. Okay, anyway, but whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if Microsoft offered like $1,000 and Sony offered like $5. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's all up to what you're gonna play. And I think in terms of what people, I think of mass appeal, I think, Sony's probably wins. Cube Director's Cut. That's a good game. I reviewed that as well. I think that game is good, but. It's certainly not of a lot of value at this point. Anyway, we gotta move on. This is ridiculous. Let's move on to something else that's equally ridiculous in my opinion, but let's see what the guys think. This downgrade controversy of Spider-Man. I mean, this has been happening all gen. I feel like game after game after game. I mean, you can point to like The Witcher 3. You can point to Watch Dogs, the first one. I don't know if Watch Dogs 2 had the same problem, but there's just Destiny. Sorry, not Destiny. The Division. Like you can point to quite a few games this generation that have had this kind of controversy, right? This downgrade controversy, and now since Spider-Man is going out to reviewers and people have gotten sneaky copies somehow and are releasing footage of the game and showing identical scenes to what's been shown at cons, we're getting comparisons like you see on the screen right now, and we're getting people bitching about it left and right in Twitter. And I know, Assassin, I want to let you go on this because I know you have something to say about this on whether or not this is even a big deal. So what are your thoughts on it?
I don't think it's really a big deal. I mean, in the past, like, with Watch Dogs, I don't think, when we played it, like, we were like, oh my god, this is a downgrade. We played, we played it, we had fun. I mean, if you went back to the trailer, super hyped and just, watch trailers over and over and over, like, oh my god, this game looks fantastic. You play it, and you see the downgrade, because I think it was, like, night and day of the downgrade. Like, then sure, bring it up, because that, you were led to something fantastic, and the graphics were, poo, compared to that, whatever. But, like, Spider-Man, like, I've heard from people, I think even Insomniac, like, it's not even a downgrade. Like, who cares if it is or not? You're going to put in Spider-Man, or you're going to start it up if it's digital or whatever. You're gonna have fun. You're not look at that one scene where there's those puddles and not puddles and be like, I wish there was those puddles. I wanted to hop in them like I was 2 and just play in the puddles. Like, no, you don't care. Like, and then I thought someone brought it up, I forget who it was. The eyes weren't as shiny, like,
Yeah.
are you playing playing a game where you're looking into Spider-Man's eyes, or are you playing a game where you're swinging from rooftops and, kicking bad guys and, just having fun with Spider-Man? Maybe I won't notice that. Like, if you notice it, good for you, but I'm going to be busy just, being Spider-Man.
Right. It's like, and it's one of those things that if you don't put them side by side, you probably never even know, like you said. It's like, very few games are there that the graphics really detract from the experience. Like, there are very few cases where I've said in a game that I've played that the graphics are taking away from the fun I'm having. And obviously when they've shown this at cons before, I don't think they're like necessarily been saying, the cons I've gone to, they definitely have, but I don't know about other cons that they've showed this game at, that I don't think people are necessarily saying, when they're showing off, when Insomniac's showing this off, I don't think they're being like next level graphics, like incredible graphics, stuff you've never seen before, blah, blah, blah. The focus isn't on that. The focus is on the gameplay, the open world, the depth of it, the customization, gameplay elements. And now, because of this stuff, we're talking about downgrades. We're talking about graphical downgrades in 2018. It's like, you're not going to play a good game because of that now, like with Watch Dogs 1, I remember when people were bitching about that and people were boycotting Watch Dogs 1 because the game was because the game was downgraded, and people were making videos left and right and shitting all over and circling things and pointing out that's downgraded, and people were not playing that game. And I'm like, dude, you're missing out on a good game. Like, this is a good game, and you're gonna miss out on something like that because you're like offended of the fact that graphics got downgraded. That's silly to me. I don't know. Clowns, what do you think?
Yeah, I feel like...
Oh, Assassin, go ahead.
I feel like, Spider-Man's going to come out. People are going to be like, oh my god, downgrade. It's not going to... I forget where I was going with this. But, they're just, like you said, they're not going to enjoy a good game. Like, just play it. Like, I don't know where I lost my train of thought before, but...
It's alright.
I mean, just enjoy it. Like,
yeah.
That's all that matters. Gamers just take things too far when it's negative, and like, the mechanics could be fantastic and you would never say a single thing because his eyes are not this shade of black and shiny or this puddles of wet. I don't know.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's just
be positive.
Well, this is fake news, right? That the downgrade is fake news. I don't know if you guys know that, but James Stevenson.
Downgrades, but...
Yeah, James Stevenson, community director of Insomniac Games, made a few statements on Twitter recently because he's fed up with all the negative things surrounding Spider-Man, and he said, first, it's not a downgrade. Downgrade implies we showed something not possible as a trick or reduced capabilities. Neither of those are true. Second, attitudes like that are why game devs don't want to show stuff in production because people can't handle minor changes. And basically, in the thread, it goes on to say that the puddles were removed just because they decided to remove them, and the shadows underneath Spider-Man, the direction changed from where the sun was and the building was, so the shadows changed, and that's what Insomniac's statement was in reference to this.
Yeah, so it just goes back to like gamers are just always so negative towards like things. Like, just be positive for once. Like, oh my, Spider-Man is wears a different suit. Like, it's not a thing to get pitchforks and stuff and go to these devs' house because it's a small thing. Big whoop.
Yeah,
And have fun.
And Daz is right. It's just ammo for people to make views for hits because drama sells, and it's so it's easy for the Xbox fan base to go ahead and attack it, because it's on a Sony platform, and if this happened on Microsoft's, you'd have all the Sony people coming out after it. It's just fueling the console war, and it's like Clown said, and it's a great point on that. Sometimes these things are conscious decisions that have nothing to do with performance. It's like in that scene right here that we're showing on the podcast, and if you're not watching it and you're just listening, like it's that scene where he's looking over all the guys in the warehouse and there's a lot of water on the ground, and you probably saw it in the E3 trailer, but to me personally, I think that all that water there looked foolish anyway. Like that, I think that looks foolish. The reflections were cool. People talking about ray tracing online, like, it's not a downgrade because, Sony just doesn't have the ability to ray trace like that or some shit. It's like, come on. First of all, you have no idea what you're talking about. Second of all, it's not about ray tracing. It's not about technology. Sometimes things are about conscious artistic decisions that, maybe it just doesn't make sense. Like, did you take that into consideration that maybe it just doesn't make sense?
You know what I don't understand is it seems like there are more PS4 fans complaining about this Puddlegate and making a big issue out of it, and it seems like more Xbox fans that are excited for Spider-Man are defending it. So why are Sony fans bashing their favorite, place to go? Well, Xbox fans are defending it, maybe because Xbox fans are gamers in general. That's my statement on that.
PlayStation guys are used to like a high quality first party AAA first party game, and then you see this and like maybe this isn't game like a game we've seen with God of War and Uncharted 4, which looked fucking fantastic, and now Spider-Man lost a puddle. Oh my god. It's the end of the world.
Dude, look at that suit. Obviously that gloss is gone because Sony just can't handle it. I mean, obviously, right? It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And you're right in that, Assassin, that goes back to kind of like it's the same theme of the games that go versus PlayStation Plus. It's like you hold Sony's first party stuff or their exclusive stuff to this high standard because you look at Uncharted 4, you look at The Last of Us, you look at The Last of Us 2, you look at Horizon Zero Dawn, you look at these games and they're all like extremely pretty, up there for like the best looking games of the generation, even though now technically they're on weaker hardware. And now here's Spider-Man and it's not, like the pinnacle of looks. And, specifically in this case, like look at Spider-Man's suit in the first picture, like how they showed it at E3. It's like, did you just like watch that outfit? Like that, I think it looks foolish, dude. I think it looks foolish. So, Delia says the horse is dead. It is indeed dead. It is indeed dead. I don't know. It's dead for everyone. Everyone should just, enjoy the game. And when graphics really hamper a game in this generation, please let me know because I haven't found it. What else we got? Really quick, just want to mention this. I mean, I think this is the last thing we actually have on the docket tonight. It is the Cyberpunk trailer. Like, if you guys haven't checked out the Cyberpunk trailer, we're not going to talk about this a ton because I personally have not seen the entire trailer because it is quite long. It's 50 minutes almost, which is insanely long for a company to do a 50-minute gameplay trailer where they narrate over it and talk about all the features. I thought it was a really cool production for what I've seen. I've seen probably like half of the trailer at this point, and I think that the game is looking really next level. I like the direction of it. I think graphics are great. Gameplay is great. I like the dialogue between the characters. I think that really adds to the story and really adds to the cooperative kind of gameplay, even though you're not playing in multiplayer necessarily. But I don't know. Did you guys check out the trailer or see anything about this? Because I think if you haven't, even if you're watching and you're even just mildly interested in this, I think you need to watch this gameplay trailer because I think it's excellent. But what did you guys think?
I saw it. I saw it on Twitch, on the Xbox. I don't think it showed, like, graphically, at least when I was watching it, too well on Twitch. For some reason, Twitch on Xbox, the quality of it is just utter shit. But I think what they showed at that reveal, if that's the full game, I think it's going to be game changing. I think it's probably the best looking RPG first person game I've seen. It feels,
oh my god, it
more,
makes,
or not feels, but it looks more like realistic. It looks more, like you could actually, like, the people look, actually like people, not like, like they're just there. They didn't put really much time. They made some models and they just threw them in the game. Like, they look really well. I think the gunplay looks pretty good.
Incredible.
Some of the abilities that they shown off, like with I think at one point he was just shooting in the air and the bullets were going to someone. Like, I don't think I'll like invest any of my time into that. Like, maybe if they're behind a shield or something, maybe, but I think that was just kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like, that takes out the skill out of it. I like that you could shoot, like, through walls, like, at the beginning. I thought that was cool. I couldn't change that up. The approach of different ways towards the mission with consequences for a certain mission, path you take, I think that's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot more games are getting to that. With, like, Dying Light 2 coming out, they're doing something like that.
Yep.
And then this game, I like that they came out and said the game is going to be a mature game.
Yeah. Supersonic Station just said in the chat, he goes, let's address the elephant in the room. How about those cyber boobies? It's true. That was pretty explicit, dude.
Yeah, the Twitch chat, I swear, went crazy when they saw boobs. Like, they're like, CD Projekt Red's going to get banned from Twitch. Like, grow up. I mean, it's gonna be mature. It's gonna be like I haven't beaten Witcher. I put like a day's worth of my time in that game. Like, I mean, you clearly can see, them having like sex and stuff, stuff like that.
Grand Theft Auto games have existed like that. It's not the first time. Like, come on.
Yeah, so it probably make it, a little, like, tone it up probably a little bit more than like GTA, because in GTA when you had sex with a hooker, like, you were in the car and so you didn't really see much. I feel like you're gonna see a lot more in a game like this, but that's just a small detail.
I love Delilah. I love hold on one second, Assassin, because we got to get to this really quick. I love Delilah in the chat saying, as a straight female, I still appreciated that scene in the game. It was very accurate. So maybe that's why people are like going crazy, because in GTA and in The Witcher, well, The Witcher more so than GTA, but whenever it's been done in GTA before, it's not necessarily like lifelike accurate, you know what I mean? But go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, having like your street cred and all that tied to like your jacket and all that other stuff, like, I think that will play out pretty well.
Oh yeah.
The abilities that they showed where you're like a spider, like, and then you can hack like other like robots, and you can like change how they, there's some of their abilities, like maybe their guns. They won't be able to shoot their guns, and I think that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
it's cool because it's like stuff we haven't necessarily seen before. Like it's good graphics, it's depth in an RPG shooter. It's Fallout. Give it to Fallout. They've dominated that subset for a while, and this game is coming in and doing things that Fallout and games of that nature have just not done. And I think that's what's also refreshing about it. It's not just the graphics, it's the setting, and it's like stuff that you just said, Assassin. It's just things that are just haven't been done. It's like when people say that everything's been done, nothing new can be done. You got a company like CD Projekt Red, who's been essentially focusing on The Witcher for its existence, and now they put out another game. And granted, Bethesda's doing that as well with oh my god, what's the name of the game? The space game that they're doing. Bethesda Game Studios, they announced it, and everyone nuts at E3. Oh my god,
I forget. Yeah.
Oh my god, what's the name of that? Starfield. So yeah, I mean, these companies are starting to branch out, and Starfield could be like just as good as this, if not better, in its subset or its genre or whatever. But it's nice to see these companies, taking risks and doing things that have not been done before, and are especially in a time when people are like, oh, everything's been done.
Yeah. I really like that. Like, I think they said it. The ads in the game when you're in the world will be like customized to you. Like, it's kind of cool that they'll advertise certain things that maybe you need or whatever, just be for you, not just have what was it, like in GTA, you just see an ad for beer. Like this is some different. Maybe it can help you in the future. I don't know if it works well.
Yeah, this isn't the first time that's been done. I feel like, well, I think it's more obvious in this game. So, and because of how realistic this game is, going back to that, I think it's more noticeable and will have a greater effect. But we've seen in games in the past, like ads change, or like announcements over like a PA system change in response to what's actually going on in the world, like in 2K games or in basketball game, or even in Madden and stuff. Like scoreboards change, announcers change, stuff like that, depending on what's going on in the real world. But like in this one, just because of the setting and what you're doing and being entrenched in that atmosphere, I feel is a bigger deal. And who knows if there's gonna be like ad revenue sold in a game. I mean, I guess it depends how popular it is, which it looks like it's gonna be extremely popular. But who knows if potentially CD Projekt Red, like you're kind of suggesting, is gonna sell like ad revenue.
I don't think they'll go to that length. I think that'd be really annoying, and seeing an ad for like Kleenex or something.
Well, it's more realistic, dude. Sometimes you need Kleenex. Like
I understand, but I feel like the way that they were going with, like, like if you go down a certain path, this ad pops up, maybe, tailoring to your play style, and be like, this cola, because they showed like cola or something, like this can help you with this, like, and give you some, like, show something new that maybe you've never seen, but as an ad, like some maybe you would look over, like people do these days, over ads, and you might just hear in the background, be like, oh, that's cool, maybe I want this thing.
Yeah,
and then you buy it,
and it's an in-game item that you can actually go buy. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but I think it would be cool if they tied in like real life stuff too. I mean, granted, it's called Cyberpunk 2077 for a reason, so maybe like Kleenex isn't necessarily relevant, but I think it would be cool if they tied in real life stuff too. And obviously I think it would like be altered, like if there was like an Apple ad, for instance. I know that's not gonna happen, but what if there was like an Apple ad for like the iPhone, like XXXX or something, like, what I mean? Like they tied it in like that, and a company like Apple could advertise and not necessarily be a real product, but it would be relevant to something like a brand we're familiar with. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Well, I feel like gamers would just be upset because, their Apple would, because you're going with Apple, Apple would have to pay for that ad spot.
Right.
So they're getting money, which would make CD Projekt Red greedy in a way because they're taking this money to throw a product at you, and then we're spending $60, maybe more. There's a season pass or not a season pass, and there's just expansions or microtransactions. I don't think there'll be microtransactions in this game, but
Yeah.
people would just be upset. I think there was can't remember what it was, but I believe there was a game that actually had an ad of a real life thing, and people didn't take to it too kindly.
Well, I don't know. Like, I agree with you a little bit on that because, especially since they'd be earning more money for showing you an ad that you would essentially go out and buy something. But, like, I think people would be more accepting of it if it were something like the company's product, but it's not a real product. Like in that iPhone example I gave, it would be like an iPhone from 60 years from now that obviously doesn't exist, but it's a brand that you recognize, so it's kind of cool in that regard. I don't know. I don't necessarily.
But then they would just go down the line of what like GTA does.
Yeah.
Where they average there's a game in GTA 5 that is literally Call of Duty, and they make fun of it so much, but it's Call of Duty.
Yeah.
But it's labeled something else.
Yeah, it could work both ways. I think it could work both ways, but if obviously the in-game ads having some sort of effect on the game, obviously what I'm suggesting would have no effect on the game. So, but what what has been shown and what is suggested about the ads changing depending on stuff you need or new available stuff in the game, I think that's cool because it's making the environment more of a factor in how you play the game, which in a lot of games nowadays it's it's pretty eye candy, but it's it doesn't have any effect on you in the same way. And I think anything to immerse yourself a little bit more in your environment in games is a good idea. So I mean, kudos to CD Projekt Red for thinking about stuff like that. It's like the nuances of this game, It's like this game has a lot of good nuances that people are picking out and praising them for, instead of just, what the E3 trailer was like, wow, look how beautiful that was. The setting is so unique and so beautiful and whatever. And, there wasn't any gameplay. So it's kind of like, okay, well, at least, publicly, there wasn't any gameplay shown. People got private backdoor access to the game and were very impressed. But this is now something that everyone can take in and see how it's more than just a shiny piece of jewelry. It's really something good deep to its core. So I think that's why people are universally praising this thing. I mean, look what our YouTube chat and beyond, of course, has been saying about the game. It's just everyone's just kind of universally praising it. I don't hear anyone kind of talking shit about the game at all. So
I heard one thing, which it wasn't really shit, but they didn't want the first person camera, they wanted third person.
Oh, third person, yeah. I did see a little bit of that too. But fuck that. Look, you're just finding something to complain about at that point.
I mean, if they even add it, that's fine. But I feel like you would lose immersion into the game if it was third person.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. In a game like this, absolutely. This isn't like the Elder Scrolls. This is this is in a separate genre. This is not, they're not necessarily trying to copy, but I mean, if you're looking at what it compares to more, it's more Fallout than something like Elder Scrolls or not Elder Scrolls. What am I thinking? Not Elder Scrolls, because Elder Scrolls is first person as well, but
it's first and third.
I'm thinking Fallout more. I mean, sorry. Oh, what's the game? Now I'm not thinking of it. Like Fable. It's not like an RPG like that. It's at the core, I think this is still a shooter. When you classify RPGs, I feel like, you can throw them into a shooter category, you can throw them into an action category. I think this is more like a shooter RPG. I still think it belongs in that category. It's like Fallout, it's like Borderlands, it's closer to that stuff. which is good because it's out of CD Projekt Red's like comfort zone or what they usually produce, you know, because obviously they, like I said, they've been kind of doing the Witcher thing forever, and now this is like so divergent. It's like, you know, you're not going to make a comparison between this and the Witcher. At least I hope you're not, you know.
Yeah.
But Evil Aaron says at this point, CD Projekt Red can do whatever they want. I fully trust they're making something special. Yeah, I mean, they're becoming one of those, what we like to say on the podcast, infallible companies like Blizzard. What was another one? Rockstar. Yep. It's one of those ones that we talk about in the podcast a lot. It's one of those infallible companies that seem like they can do no wrong. So and that's a good, I mean, in this case, that's a good thing because they're really putting out some really good products, you know. Shizno Elite says he likes how alive the world looked. It has to take a lot of resources, he's sure, to do that. I agree with you. I think, like we were talking about the ad thing, I think that is much more immersive for you. I think you kind of like pay attention to the world instead of kind of just like walking by and noticing how pretty it is, you know. But anyway, Clowns is not here because he's helping his wife doing something right now. So we're not going to get his opinion on this episode. At least maybe he'll tweet it out instead. But other than that, that is about it. I know we went a little long. Thank you, Assassin, for keeping us. What?
I just want to say, are we doing anything on the Battlefield stuff?
I mean, what do you want to say? I forgot. I actually was not even thinking about that because that came out today. But I mean, Battlefield. I don't have a slide on it, but I mean, we can talk about it really briefly. Battlefield 5, for people that don't know, delayed until now. I tweeted this out, so I should probably know. But what is it? November 9th for the early access now, or something like that.
I think for like EA access, it's the 9th. I think deluxe edition is the 16th, and then normal is the 20th.
So initially it was going to be October 19th. So if you kind of look at it as a delay, you're looking at a month essentially delay for this thing. And
yeah,
obviously people are shitting on it. You know, people are saying that you know, the game is getting delayed because they're in trouble because you know, they know they're fucked, that the game's actually no good and their pre-order numbers have been terrible. And it's Titanfall 2 all over again. But I actually think it's kind of smart. And, you know, the only reason I'm pissed about it is because I can't play it. But until then. But honestly, I think, you know, getting out of the congestion is a good thing for any game. You know, it doesn't matter if you're Call of Duty, if you're Red Dead Redemption, if you're Battlefield 5, if you're whatever, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. October was looking like a really, really popular month for game releases. And now they've done a couple things. They've allowed themselves time to react to gamer response to the game, gamer input. You know, Battlefield has shown time and time again that they're kind of listening to that thing and they implement those changes. I mean, look at Hardline, Battlefield 4 in particular. I don't know much about Battlefield 1, how that's really shaped the game. I think out of the get-go, I think that game was pretty good. But I know Battlefield 4 and Hardline specifically, EA is shown that, I mean, they delayed Hardline a ton, if you remember, way more than this. I think they delayed Hardline from fall to like spring, didn't they, or something like that, just to get that game right. Yeah, that game took a huge hit for that. The game wasn't very good anyway because it was such a divergent from the Battlefield universe, so a lot of people weren't into it. But I mean, it was way better than what people had played in October or September. So I mean, that in that case, the delay was a good thing. So you wanted to bring this up, Assassin. So what are you positive on this, negative on this? Are you think they're in trouble? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't think they're in trouble. I think anyone who thinks that they're in trouble clearly wants another Titanfall 2 issue, because I mean, we got the two biggest games of the year launching. You know, that it was going to launch right, you know, around Battlefield, which was Call of Duty and Red Dead. Like, clearly everyone was going to buy, you know, Call of Duty and Red Dead, so no one would buy Battlefield. Like, same thing with Titanfall. No one bought Titanfall because the Battlefield came a week before and Call of Duty a week after. So releasing it a month later, we get all our feedback into the game if they want to take it. They get more breathing room close to the end of November before Black Friday and Thanksgiving and stuff. And I think it's going to do probably a lot more, a lot better than like in October.
Yeah, and I hate games that have betas like so close to release, because it's what's been called a marketing beta, and I agree with that, because what could you do to change the game in that short amount of time? Now it's looking like the beta is the same time, right? I mean, the beta is still going to be next month. They're going to have 2 months to implement things. The game obviously isn't going to go gold anytime soon, but they said we've had some, this is a direct quote, we've had valuable feedback from our community, and we're going to take time to make final adjustments to deliver a great experience to our fans. So obviously, EA shows this at like a lot of the big cons, Gamescom, E3. They've showed this game and people have played it. And obviously, when you exit playing those games, people who've been to these cons, that, they take surveys on some people, and as part of those surveys, they probably receive some feedback. They know that they need to go ahead and implement that stuff before the game comes out, or else they're in trouble. And I don't think they're in trouble I don't think they're in trouble as like Battlefield dying off as a franchise. I just think they're in trouble in terms of the game not meeting a lot of people's expectations. So in that regard, I think having a delay is a good thing. So, and Shiznu Elite in the YouTube chat makes a good point. He talks about how he's gonna be able to afford Red Dead Redemption now, and that's another thing. Like, getting away from the congestion has as much to do with the publisher as it does with the consumer, because now people can budget appropriately, and a lot more people will be able to like justify buying this game. If I saw a lot of people on YouTube and a lot of people on Twitter and in the gaming community being like, okay, October has this many games coming out, I can buy this many, and Battlefield's not making the list. You know what I mean? It's one of those deals. Whereas now it's like, okay, it's coming out a month later, a few more paychecks to come in, Assassin's mowing a few more lawns, shoveling a little bit more snow, and now you can afford the game. It's good. It's good on both ends, I think. It is only a month, so it's not like Hardline where it was into the next season.
Oh yeah, and look at like Black Ops 4 for an instance. Like, look how much feedback they got 2 months before the game releases, and they've done a lot of changes. If you just read their posts and stuff, they even did a lot of changes like week 1. Just imagine what they could Battlefield could do if they want to do it. If they have the ability or whatever to do what Treyarch did.
Yep. Yeah, and I think they do have the ability, and I think that with Battlefield 5 they're taking a lot of risks. This isn't like a safe let's just change the genre, let's just change the setting, let's just change a few cosmetic things and throw it out there and it's the same base experience. I mean, they're changing a ton of stuff. We've talked about this in the prior podcast. Like, there are a lot of elemental game things in this game. There are a lot of core features that are taking a change, and maybe that's rubbing some people the wrong way. Maybe they're going to change it back, or maybe they just need to implement it in a different way for people to accept it fully. But whether it's towing AA guns all over the map, or whether it's how people get the revive system, the spotting system being changed significantly, dragging dead bodies into cover for revives, or whatever it is, any of the changes, the different gunplay, since gunplay has changed significantly. You should watch some gameplay videos if you want to see firsthand what that means, because it's a little more COD-ish, I would say, in the gun feel. So there's a lot of changes this time around. People are like, oh, how are you delaying a Battlefield game? It's usually the same every year. Well, in this instance, it's definitely not the same. This is a huge change. It's a huge risk for EA that I think will pay off in the end, but I will say it's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way, and it's just more negative news. You know, we were talking last week about, or maybe a couple weeks ago at this point, about how Battlefield 5, the press has just been non-existent directly from EA, and this is just another blow, you know? So it's like just more negative on top of, you know, more negative, to the point where people are just, you know, done with Battlefield at this point, which is sad, but...
Well, they just need to get the beta in people's hands. I feel like a lot of people, at least that I've seen, that played the alpha, because they have 2 alphas already on PC, and then playing at E3 or I don't know or EA Play and Gamescom. Like, I feel like a lot of people's minds have changed, because, like you said, the gunplay is different, which I don't think it's more coddish. I've heard it was more, more in line with like Battlefield 3's, and like where it's not like all guns are just lasers, and like it takes more skill. Like, I think that's a nice change, and if people see that and play it and enjoy it, I think it will stop with all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Not fully, but it will. We won't see like an article every day, or someone saying, "Oh, Battlefield's dead. It should never come out. EA is the worst company ever." Like, yes, EA is screwed up, but I mean, Activision over here has done some shady things and never got shit for. So
yeah, yep. Well, that's the thing. It's like we talked about a couple weeks ago or last week or whenever we talked about the marketing issues. It's just like EA has not shown this. Has not shown the gameplay to enough people, so it's like hard to get people hyped over trailers and being able to put some war paint on your character's face. Like, people need to see the goods to be impressed by the goods.
Yeah.
So, but I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, because that's, as we said before, that's kind of like where the press has been. That's kind of where EA's relied on people seeing the gameplay instead of giving it to they're giving it to influencers instead of just doing it themselves. So nonetheless, I think you should just do that. I think people should just go on YouTube and check it out, or in a couple weeks or next week, or what is it next week already?
It's next week. Preload starts Monday.
Wow, it is next week already. So yeah, I think a lot of people will be impressed. But time will tell. All right, well, we got that in. Next week, I'm sure we'll be talking about that said beta, depending on how much we're allowed to talk about. I think you're able to stream it. It would be criminal if you couldn't. So
you
maybe
could stream the alpha,
right? So yeah.
I think the beta is totally fine.
Yeah. So. I'm sure we'll stream it. I'm sure we'll play the shit out of it, and we will talk much in depth about Battlefield next week, and hopefully not ding it for being delayed, because it's just a month, people. Like, it's positioning, it's updating the framework, it's updating based on customer feedback, and in the end, that's always a good thing. If things change based on customer feedback, that's always a good thing. There are certain companies that can delay games and do it in a good way, and I think EA could possibly do that, but time will tell. They did it with Hardline, and I think they can do it again. So, whatever. Save your money up, mow some more lawns, do your chores, do your work, whatever, wherever you're at. But anyway, so that's it. Kind of a long show because of Assassin. Thank you for making it long yet again.
You're welcome.
Big blabbermouth.
It's my job.
Clowns had to back out, but you can follow us all individually. Our Twitters and Xboxes and all those things have kind of been cycling below our faces the entire podcast. But if you want to hit us up as a group, please do so. Just search 4GwQPodcast. You'll find us on everything from Twitch to Mixer to YouTube. We're most active, I'd say, on Twitter, which is 4GwQPodcast, because 4GwQPodcast would not fit. So hit us up on all that kind of stuff. Definitely hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff, and let us know if you liked or disliked the show. We wanna hear what you guys had to think and had to say about it. So, and we want to hear what you have to say about these topics. So definitely hit us up in the comments and hit us up on Twitter or whatnot, and we'll definitely love to engage on these topics because we like to talk games every once in a while. If you didn't notice, so all right, we'll see you guys later next week. Peace.